All right, Parashat Shelach. We have to see the other camera, how the results will be. But Parashat Shelach, so very, very famous parasha. But we'll concentrate on a different pasuk. Everybody talks about the Meraglim. Maybe we'll talk a little bit at the end, but a little bit different today. So on the pasuk on the parasha, in Perek Tetvav, Velo taturu acharei levavchem. Wow, guys, you are so good. ואחרי עיניכם, אשר? זונים, איזה יופי, איזה... We give you all diplomas, איזה יופי. Graduated, יאללה. So the Gemara in Masechet Brachot in דף י"ב, עמוד ב' says the following, דתניא, אחרי לבבכם זו מינות, אחרי עיניכם הרהורי עבירה, אתם זונים, זה הרהור עבודה זרה. Got it? Good, so let's go home. Good to see you. So, you found parking? So the question is, why did Chazal learn that not to, let's pay attention to the word latur, taf vav resh. How did Chazal learn that the word latur, after the heart, latur is really to search, to look after, to wander, to explore. Latur et haaretz is to explore. So after the heart, that's called minut. What's minut?
Afterwards.
One of those things, yes. What else? Minut. Those who don't believe, right? They're non-believers. We would seem that minut is really a kfirah heresy in the sechel, right? Because that's you think, we're not in the heart. I mean, when a person thinks about, as we say, going off the derech, that's because he's thinking. Why the heart? What's the connection? It should be the other way around. Your brains. Right? Okay, it's a minut, I hear. But what's the heart? What's the heart has to do? What's we do with that? Because, we do know when a person is kofir, he throws away the Torah and Chaz v'Shalom HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he doesn't believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What does he call minim? And we could say that the Ikar Kfirah, heresy, really comes from the heart. Its root stems from the heart. What generates that feeling inside of you, that's something that has to do with the heart. In other words, we're not getting into psychology here, but that goes from the heart, and not through, and it doesn't, in other words, it goes through emotion to a certain extent, and not through pure intellect. Later on, when we're feeling something, then we kick in the intellectual processes, and then we think that we're intellectual, but that's why, by the way, that's why most of the people who consider themselves the non-believers, right? In other words, for them is atheist, they all consider themselves to be very intelligent, right? Because afterwards, that intelligence, that's what made them to become non-believers. And you people who believe, a bunch of primitives, hay shakers, rednecks from somewhere down there that, you believe in God and all kind of crazy stuff like that. We are the intellectuals, we are not, right? That's usually what you hear, right? So, a person should understand that when we have problems with emunah, recently we were talking a lot about emunah and all different aspects of emunah. The main problem or the difficulty of emunah really starts from desires, for what we desire. And we know that the heart desires, not the sechel. Because the brain will tell you, no, you can't really do that, it's not really good. And he said, no, I really want to desire. Desire, right? That's something like this. Desire wants it. After we desire, and the desire kind of goes up, right? Then we, again, kick in the rationale and we start making up excuses. Why is that it's a good thing that what we do, right? Argument's sake, let's say pot. Smoking, the Bob Marley one, right? Everybody knows that's bad. You gotta be an absolute moron to think that smoking pot is good for you. Very simple. You want to say something? You feel nervous touching your nose or something? No. So everybody knows that smoking pot is very bad for you. Why is it bad for you? First of all, I mean, if you're just going to take paper, just inhale so much smoke at one time, it's going to cause problems in your lungs, and so many other things that it causes you. Your blood pressure, problems with fertility, paranoia. Well, there's a whole list of wonderful things that you can do yourself when you're smoking pot. But what do you say? No, I need it. The desire. Then the intellect comes, and you come Russians, why? You start giving arguments. Well, it's just like alcohol. It's just like sugar. This is an addiction. That is an addiction. And you say, okay, since it's all good, yallah. Bring on the hookah, and we'll start hooking ourselves to that thing. Right? The rational comes. But it really comes from the heart, from the desire that comes from the heart, and from... and that what generates the whole thing. Many times when you go to yeshiva, or you start going to yeshiva, you start learning seriously Torah and something like this, you're gonna have many questions regarding emunah, regarding God. Why did God do this? The 6 million. Okay, well, why are you always talking on the 6 million? How about all the other millions? So many different questions that we have, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they come up to the surface, right? And we have kashyas and emunah and so on and so forth. And if you're brave enough, you go to the Rosh Yeshiva or to the Mashgiach, and you say, Rebbe, I have a question. I want to ask you something, and so on and so forth. And usually he says, you know what? Remember what you just asked me, and then come like a month or two, come to me again, ask me again. But just remember those questions. And then you go about your own way, your own merry way, and you're learning, and you're learning, and you're learning, and you're learning. And all of a sudden you find out that those questions that you had about emunah simply disappeared. You don't have any questions anymore. And the question is, where did it go? Where all the questions go? Where did they go? Where did they go? They disappear. What happened here? What happened here is very simple. The Midrash Eicha tells us, "Mitoch shayu mitaskim ba hamaor sheba machziram lemutav." Since people learn Torah, there's something magical about Torah that it brings you back. Machziran, pay attention. Machziran lamutav. It brings them back to the good. Again, it brings them back. And that's a very important point that one has to remember. Not like Christianity that holds that you are the ultimate, the old-time sinner, that you're bad to the bone. You know the song, Bad to the Bone? It's a very nice song. Bad. Judaism holds that you're not. This is not the case. You learn there's something special about the Torah that brings you back to the good. In other words, you left the good and you went to the bad, but you were at the good. That emunah is implanted into our spiritual DNA since the time of Matan Torah. When we received the Torah, there was a special chip that went into a motherboard over there in our spiritual DNA that always wants to do good and is involved with good. Even Jews who went off the path, right, off the way of life, they always seem to be doing something good, even if it's sometimes helping our enemies, but they don't do so because they hate the Jews, they do so because they want to do good. Just however, they're so blind, they can't tell right from wrong anymore. Like all the American brothers and sisters that help the BDS. I mean, you got to be an absolute moron to help those people, but they think that they're doing something good. It's not the intent to hurt. Certain culture is the intent to hurt. They're going there to cause harm and terror. Jews want to help, but sometimes they do bad, but it's inside each and every Jew. It's inside each and every Jew, and if you look at Masechet Makot, at Dav Chav Gimel, it says that Shamanu, right, et Hashem medaber. We heard Hashem talking, And that had an effect on all of us throughout the generations, forever and ever. That affected us. It stayed inside of us. In Sefer Meorot HaEmunah of Rav Kook, it says on the word on the Babli, B'pi Gvura Shema'anum, we heard this from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It says, and I'm quoting, "Ha'emunah eina lo sechel velo regesh." Emunah, belief in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is not an intellectual practice, nor an emotional practice. Pay attention, it's very, very important. Very, very important. Ela gilui atzmi hayoter yesodi. This is a very deep self-revelation of mahut neshama, the essence of your neshama. You learn about yourself through your emunah, on the essence of what your neshama is. Shetzarich leadrich ota betchunata, then you need to direct your emunah in its own natural way. Ukeshe'en mashchitim et darka hativ'i la, and when you don't destroy the natural path of your soul, it doesn't need anything else to give your neshama some kind of a comfort and nourishment. We'll go with it. Ela hi motzet be'atzma et hakol. Your soul will find everything it needs by itself, which is an amazing revelation. An amazing revelation. When a person and now go back to this, and you'll see that the less emunah you have, the more dependent you would be on external stimulation and external achievement of acquiring, whether it's titles or material possessions and so on and so forth. The more emunah you have, the less you need. So if you are greedy, you don't have a lot of emunah. You don't need much if you have emunah. Baruch Hashem, everything I have, thank you Hashem. The more you want, the more chisaron, lacking, you feel in yourself, the more you know you should work on your emunah. That's why there were big tzaddikim, big people, who never had the need to go on vacations to Florida or to go to Bahamas or to go to Punta de Cano, whatever, all these places. Caribbeans, Meribians. They're happy. They have. The neshama is full. There's no desire for that. You need to think about, and this is a question to each and every one of you. Take an evaluation, evaluate your own state, and exactly see where you're holding, and you can get a very good indication about the level of emunah you have. You want to examine who, for example, you should marry? You're going to think, do you have emunah? Of course I have emunah. You don't need to ask this question if I have emunah or she doesn't have emunah. You got to see about their eagerness to have possessions and to have, if the person has emunah or not, how content you are with your life. What would you rather have, my darling Clementine? Would you rather me put up a sefer? Or do you want to go on vacation to Puerto Rico or to Cuba? What would you like to have? Would you like me to have Talmidim and to sit down and teach Torah? Or do you want me to get you servants and maids and cleaning ladies and UPS drivers or whatever else that you want? Now you know right away who you're dealing with. We're talking about we were talking the other day about micro expressions, right? I mean, of course, there's a big debate about the whole concept of micro expression, if it's valid, it's not valid, scientific, cultural, and so on and so forth. But you should know that there are micro expressions of your neshama as well. And you don't need to ask those questions, with the come with the punchline list. Everybody thinks that he's going to art smart, but ask. No, you just ask just one or two questions. You can tell exactly who the person is. What's the spiritual state? Where are they holding? Where are they holding about emunah? Again, if the emunah is a revelation, a deep and thorough revelation of your own essence, of your own neshama, a person who doesn't have emunah, it's very simple. Very simple to tell. So the Gemara in Sanhedrin in Daf Samech Gimel says, "Lo avdu Israel avodah zara ela kedei latir lehem arayot beferhasya." The only reason Jews didn't really believe in idols. It's against the Jewish intellect. We can't work out. We're too smart for this. After all, we made it the thing. It's going to bow down to it. However, they did so only so they could do Gilui Arayot, like the gay parade in Tel Aviv. Now it's a gay day in Israel, Habibi, you want to do what you want to do it in your bedroom, lock the door behind you, in the closet, go back to the closet, hang yourself down. I don't care what you do. But listen, don't wave it out in the streets. The only reason why they wanted to do these things, by the way, you should know, because of all this behavior, all of a sudden there's such a rise in Israel, and I read it yesterday, in HIV, that is becoming an epidemic there. It's becoming an epidemic. So the only reason why they did avodah zarah is not for the sake of avodah zarah. It's for the sake of having free sex out in the open. You thought the hippies in the 60s were bad? There was nothing. That was kids' game. And it seems from the Gemara that all the problems that they had in terms of their emunah stems from the willingness to go after the ta'ava, and not the other way around. Not the other way around. And the ta'ava, the desires, put you down, they make you fall and fail, and they distort your sight, and they distort your emunah, which is implanted in each and every one of us. In other words, when you have a desire, you're not a master of your own self anymore, regardless of what you think you would be. You're telling yourself that you are in control. I'm in control. I'll do whatever I want. You're not in control. You are a slave of your desires. Everybody has desires. But who's the boss? Is the one who knows. Say, okay, I have a desire, but it's lo sheli. And I'll show you later on towards the end, maybe if we have some time, I'll show you a little bit gematria, because I know that you guys gematria and stuff like this. And I'll show you how exactly everything fits in. It's wonderful. So Am Israel, as the Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat, Daf Tzadik Zayin, Yeshua is not here. Okay. We says, actually we sing it, right? Anachnu maminim bnei maminim. Right? Okay, let's stop here. Right? However, the Yetzer Hara that is in the heart leads us to become heretics, to become a non-believer. So it says in the story of a famous story about a student in the Yeshiva of Volozhin that decided to leave the Yeshiva and to try his life in the world outside, like some classes do usually. So he left. And he threw everything, all the mitzvot behind him, didn't learn Torah anymore. So one day he met the Natziv from Volozhin. He met him in the street. And and he doesn't have a kippah on his head and so on and so forth. And he went to the Natziv and he told him, and he said the following. He says, I have a lot of kushiyot and emunah. I have a lot of kashyas and emunah, That's why I left the yeshiva. That's why I left the way. However, if you're going to be able to address them and answer that to me, I guarantee you I'll be chazer b'tshuva. Okay? So the Natziv says to him, he says, listen, I'm the Rosh Yeshiva. And all day long I deal with kushiyot and tirutzim. Right? The Gemara asks a kashya, the Maharam Sheikh asks ask about the Maharsha ask about Tosfot ask about this, All day long, I deal with questions and answers and questions. He says, but you had only one question. And therefore, how could I come? And the question, of course, was, right? How could I calm down my conscience and leave Torah? All the questions that you have stemmed about one thing, trying to find a way to leave the Torah, to leave the yeshiva, to do whatever the heck I want. He had only one question. He says, and for that, I don't have any tirutz on that. Why would a person do that? So all this blame that everybody likes to put on anyone, it's nobody's fault, it's your fault. And it's not because you had a problem with that. You just didn't want to do it anymore. I met one time a ger, who was he was so frum, this ger and his family, that I wasn't frum enough for him. I wasn't religious enough for him, okay? Let's put it this way. He was super stark. He worked here, he worked there. However, he was very connected with his family. One day he picks up the phone and tells me, listen, Rabbi, I want to tell you something. I'm leaving. I said, where? On a jet plane? Don't know when I'll be back again. What do you mean you're leaving? He says, I'm leaving faith. So, really? Why is that? He says, I have a problem. So, what's the problem? He said, I have a problem with the story of Noach and the Mabul. I said, for crying out loud, out of all the problems in the Torah, dafka that. I mean, almost every culture in the world has a story on the Mabul, whether it's the Chinese or the Native Americans. Everybody has a story with them. This, I said, I don't believe you. I said, I know why it is. You want to go back to mommy. And that's what it was. Eventually, he divorced his wife, and the wife and kids, they all went off the derech. But nevertheless, that's what happened. This is nonsense. It's not that he had a problem with the Mabul. He had the problem, he had enough being religious. So, and therefore the question needs to be asked, how could it be that immediately after the person takes the machshavot ra'ot from himself, immediately he reaches the level, Vayitem kedoshim leloechem, right? Because kedusha is something that demands a lot of work. Of course, there are levels of kedusha, different levels of holiness, but as soon as you take those bad machshavot from you become kadosh. And we said that basically to what we said before, when a person takes those machshavot, he becomes a kadosh because inside the Jew himself there is implanted that concept of emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the revelation of Har Sinai was such that nobody could deny it, because there was a whole entire nation of maybe like 3 million people that had experienced something like that. You can't deny it, so therefore it's implanted in each and every one of us. When a Jew denies the act of Matan Torah, he basically denies his own existence. So this is implanted in each and every one of us, and as the moment that he's being careful and he throws it away, he comes back. And when he throws those machshavot away and those desires out, immediately the kedusha and the tahara that is implanted in him comes back. And why? And that's what it says. Remember, machziram lamutav. All Shema, the light on the Torah, brings them back. That's why you can't be a righteous person without learning Torah. It's very simple. That's why you must learn. I know, broken record, learn. That's what it is. Gotta learn. I don't care how much chesed you do. All your chesed is going to be quite limited if it doesn't accompany itself with Torah. Because at a certain point, it's not going to be chesed. You're going to start manipulating it, because you're going to have some things, desires, kind of creeping inside of you, and then you're going to justify it. Why is it that you're good that you do what you crooked thing you do, and your chesed turns up to be into a horrible thing? I can tell you stories, but I will not bother you with that, because I really want to get to the Gematriot, because I know you guys love it. And this is a little longer than the Galut. But nevertheless, and it says, "Ureitem oto uschartem et kol mitzvot Hashem," and you see it, of course. Ureitem oto, the tzitzit, the ptil tchelet. Again, it's so interesting. There is an exhibition in Yerushalayim in Museum Artzot HaMikra. They found materials in the Herodion, in the mountain, the monument for King Herod, of clothing that they had. It was really made from the same chilazon that they make the tchelet today. Never mind. But וזכרתם את כל מצוות השם והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם. So therefore the זכירה in מצוות ציצית has a special, that remembering in מצוות ציצית, there's a special, something special to it, as Rabbi Meir tells us in the Sifri. Rabbi Meir אומר וראיתם אותו, לא נאמר כאן על וראיתם אותו. מגיד הכתוב שכל המקיים מצוות ציצית מעלים עליו כאילו קיבל פני שכינה. וראיתם אותו, who's אותו הקדוש ברוך הוא. If a person is מדקדק and is מקפיד on מצוות ציצית, he's like he's מקבל פני שכינה. That's why, רבותיי, I don't care what you tell me. There's no reason for you not to wear tzitzit. I'm a very hot person. Hot, you know. My Chinese doctor tells me I'm always boiling my blood. I like spicy food, and as you can see, my temper is very hot, right? I can go shoveling snow with a t-shirt, and I'll be fine. I wear tzitzit even when I don't have to.
During the night, right?
Even during midnight, yes. Well, because that's the only time you don't have to. For example, take a shower, I need to go out of the house, I'll put tzitzit on. I don't love tzitzit. No, I want to do tzitzit.
But you have a mitzvah by wearing tzitzit during the nighttime?
Of course you do. Of course you do. Because right now you listen. You just came in the middle, so just listen until the end. You should be. Anyway, come on time next time, honey. I haven't seen you in a long time. Where you been? Work. Working on who? Now, and it says, and of course, we says, why? Because the tchelet looks like the ocean looks like the rakia, and the rakia looks like the kisei hakavod, as it said, ומעל הרקיע אשר על ראשכם כמראה אבן ספיר דמות כיסא. Evan sapir, sapphire, could be blue, could be white also, blue and white, whatever. Let's go over this in Sefer Yechezkel. In other words, putting tzitzit is like welcoming the Shekhinah upon you. So that's something very, 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 very important, because when you put tzitzit on and you're careful, you're able to see the Eloki, the divine, in reality, on regular basis, on basis yomi, on regular basis. When you take the tzitzit out, you can see the divine. Your person can say, listen, I'm wearing all day long tzitzit, I don't see anything. Okay, that's another issue. But that's kind of again, another particle that you put upon yourself that helps you become more spiritual and to see the Eloki, the divine, in everything in out there, in your regular reality, which is quite distorted. So when we see the ocean, we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Reminds us of the kisei and so on and so forth. And when you look at the tchelet, right, then you see what the kisei hakavod. I don't put tchelet myself. I'm really debating, put it and I'll put. My son puts it on. He said that Rav Belsky Alav Shalom used to put it on. So I was like, you want to, I don't mind. You want to wear it. Why? Tradition. Tradition doesn't hold in a place like this. He wants to do it because he feels. Put it on. Lama lo. I wish everybody could put it on. I'm just still debating. Maybe it's a bad thing. I tell you the truth. Maybe I should make up my mind and just. Maybe it's something that I need to learn. Just go to whatever I feel like doing and whatever, instead of like debating this and that. I'm telling you the truth. By the way, that's something for another thing, for another conversation that we should have. But let's go back to what we're doing here. And so therefore, from the schira, remembering, then we says velo taturu, and you should not look after, which is dividing into two things. Acher levavchem, right? It says v'zo minut zeinechem. V'zo, right? So there is a certain connection. We can't avoid you talking about the spies. There is between this parasha and the parasha of the Meraglim, and of course that's very simple, and that's the word tur, taf vav resh, that root appears 11 times in our parasha, and mainly according to the Meraglim, it says, "Shlach lecha anashim vayaturu et eretz Canaan." They should explore the land of Canaan. By the way, it's land of Canaan, not the land of Palestine. I mean, right? Just remember that. And somebody tells you it's Palestine, tell them, listen, if you're a Christian, how do you believe Stupid people and stupider Jews that don't open their mouth. You can open your mouth. You can say what is right if you know what is right. If you know what you're saying. If you don't know what you're saying, take a book and read it. Instead of reading Forbes, you read the Bible. Right? So therefore, it says, "Shlach anashim v'yaturu et Etzion asher ani noten levnei Israel." I give to Bnei Israel. Pay very close attention. Asher ani noten. I'm giving it to the Jews. Who gives it to the Jews? Yes, God is a big real estate mogul. He gave this to Bnei Israel. Yes, He gave it to them. They didn't listen to it, and you don't listen to it either. I gave it to you. Pay attention. So we were talking about the Netziv beforehand, and the Netziv explained to us here that there is a special azhara, warning to a Talmid Chacham, how to be posek and how to teach people, how to give them halachic ruling and how to teach people. He said there should be lo lifi libam, not according to the heart, ela b'ne'emanut muchletet v'dvar Hashem. In other words, when you are teaching somebody Torah, you should remove any self-interest from that. This is not a stage for you to propel or promote yourself. So is when you give halacha. Don't give halacha to people, give them psak halacha, halachic ruling, based on the fact that they would like you. I'll be machmir to this one and make it to this one because I want him to like me and that to like me. You have to stay loyal to Dvar Hashem. That falls under velo tatu acharei levavchem. It says, v'chet minut v'haznut achar ha'einayim of znut. Uncontrolled sexuality, minut, heresy, goes after the eyes. In other words, according to reality, the way you see reality according to what your heart desires. In other words, what you see many times is not what really is. It's what you chose to show yourself. So many times people tell me, Rabbi, walk in the street, women are walking naked. I say, I don't know, we walk in the same street, I don't see naked women. I don't know what you're looking at. But I walk in, they hide. But what are you concentrating on? I showed today Yeshua, the whole Mishnah, that we were talking about trees and roots. Remember? We learned. I showed him, he walked me to the car because I parked my car, there was no parking, I parked it next to your house. So I showed him the trees, and he said, wow, that's amazing, I never noticed that. I said, look at trees, what can I tell you? But it's what you see. The reality is what you choose to see. The reality is something, therefore reality is completely different than what you think it is. You make it to be, based on your eyes, based on your heart that is distorting your intellect to think straight. It's almost like the Matrix. Don't take whatever pill you take in and see the world the way it is. See it the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to see it. Act the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to act. And this world is not about promoting yourself. It is all about promoting HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His Torah in this world, not about you. If you're doing it for yourself, you're chotel Hashem. That's what the Netziv says. That's what he says. And we do know that the Meraglim were Anashim, Ksherim, Tzadikim, they were righteous people and so on and so forth. However, what was common to all of them was a certain they were kind of, I won't say wise guys, because still they were great people, but there's something not 100% in all of them, But it came from the right place. You see, they wanted to do the right thing. They didn't mean to deceive the people. But something was not so good inside. Why? Because they came from a human point of view. Again, Ani Hashem noten lachem et Eretz Canaan. I'll give you Eretz Canaan. Go look at it. Go explore it. It's an open house, right? You come to open house. Come look at the apartment. I give it to you. You're looking at it as humans without any emunah. As humans, which is very short-sighted, is not able to understand and believe in the promises of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that I will give it to you. That's a lack of emunah. They didn't mean to do bad. They were good people. They didn't mean to do bad. The emunah was not there. They forgot the part that it says, Asher ani noten livnei Yisrael, Asher I give them. That they didn't hear. They ran, they didn't hear that. And we need to understand that. And they say, the Meraglim says, Ki chazaku mimenu, and so on and so forth. It's stronger than us. And Chazal tells us that the kavanah is, the intention is for the Boreh, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, chazaku mimenu. Who's chazaku mimenu? So now, mimenu, you write mem, nun, vav. But you change the whole entire meaning of this word if you're putting a shuruk instead of a cholam, or cholam instead of a shuruk. Amar Rabbi Chanina bar Papa, davar gadol dibur meraglim b'ota shah. They say something great. Ki chazaku mimeno, al tikri mimeno from it, ela mimenu from us in cholam. It's greater than us. We cannot win those people. They forgot that they have God on their side, like Bob Dylan says, right? They forgot. So, chazaku mimenu. So, and that lack of emunah and their ability to inherit the land, what the Meraglim did is like kfirah in the boreh, like a heresy or lack of belief in the ability of God to really keep His promise and his lack of ability to give you the land. In other words, it's a yeush. Yeush means despair from HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ability that is in each and every one of us. And that's very important. Now, we're almost there. The gematria of Tur, Taf Vev Resh, is 400. 606. Not 666. 606. Right? 606. Which is like the gematria of Ein Yeush Ba'olam. Gotad lechu taturu. When you look at your tzitzit, never, now put this all together. When you look at your tzitzit, things are bad for you. You're feeling despair. Things are not working, supposedly. Look at your tzitzit. Remember, there's a Kadosh Baruch Hu in this world. He's never going to leave you. Everybody would leave you. Everybody. Kadosh Baruch Hu would never leave you. Not to be mityash, never give up. I told you what I read a nice article from, actually I told Michael, a nice article about a Navy SEAL. It says all the training, through Navy SEAL training, it was all the time they kept saying, you don't like it, quit. You don't like it, quit. Don't like it, quit. You don't like it, you quit. Quit. Ring the bell. Quit. It's to teach you cannot quit. Because you can overcome it. Never quit. The same thing here. We are Navy SEALs. We are warriors. We are fighters. We should get that fighting feeling again. Not necessarily take guns. The Jew fights with his neshama, with his soul. Because it's not always the biggest army with the weapon to win. It's the biggest spirit that wins. You want to talk about David and Goliath, Hezbollah, they win with spirit. You win with a spirit, not with guns. So there's no en yeush ba'olam. Lechu taturu. Go look at the land. Al tiyeh af pam mityash from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and his abilities. Never. Never. To look at the world from emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu through the eyes of emunah, not through the eyes of Yerush, of despair. It's helpless. It's helpless. There's no, everything is bad. That's taturu. Acharei nechem. In other words, you can't do so. Life without any inspiration. Natul hashra'ah. You're not inspired. Natul hashra'ah in Hebrew, by the way, it's also 606. When you're not inspired, you give up. 606, by the way, is also the gematria of Tachpanchas. Tachpanchas is a place in Sinai known as Daphna, or also Daphna or Tachpanchas, which was a fortress during the time of ancient Egypt, on the eastern northern part of the Nile, where it pours into, when the Nile pours into the Mediterranean Sea. Now, today there is a city called Kantara in Egypt, so it's a little north of that. After the destruction of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar in the year 588, in Tanchalpas, there were many Jewish refugees. Among them was, of course, the prophet Yirmiyahu. As it says in Sefer Yirmiyahu, Perek Mem Gimel, Vayavohu Eretz Mitzrayim ki lo shamu bekol Hashem, Vayavohu Tanchalpas. They didn't listen to Hashem, they came all the way back to Mitzrayim. Right? You didn't want to see the land according to the promise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So guess what? You're going to go back to Mitzrayim. It's a matter of time. You're going to go back there. You're going to go back there. That's the Gematria 606. Latul. You didn't want to go there you didn't want to come to the land as people who believe. You're going to go back as refugees. You should do me a favor, Idan, turn the light over there for the rabbi. Now, quickly before we finish, Velotaturu, before we said tur, Velotaturu, this is all b'derech remez. Velotaturu, the gematria is 1012. And that's the gematria of Eshet Ish. Velotaturu is Eshet Ish. If you take the word Eshet Ish, it's the same numerical value, right? As much as we're not allowed to desire the wife of another man, we also have to stay loyal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as a woman stays loyal to her husband. Velotaturu is the same gematria. It's all hints for how you should interact is all there. Velotaturu, right? Velotaturu is Acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem. The numerical value is 1815, which is the same numerical value. V'richamti et asher arachem. If you would be able to control, not the eyes, to control your heart, the desire, not to manipulate and to distort your intellect, and by doing so, destroy your emunah, v'arachamti et asher arachem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have great rachamim on us. Rabotai, this is the time to work on your emunah. This is the time. We are soon at Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, right? Soon at Rosh Chodesh Tammuz. Tammuz, Ava. After that, it's Elul. Elul ends Zman la'avodah. There's no time. Elul is when you have to give your reports. When you start running your CSC meetings and you're giving all the annual reviews and your reports and everything you have to do. There's no time. You have to do it now. You have to enhance your emunah now. And as you could see, emunah goes hand in hand with learning. The questions that people have, and sometimes, Rabbi, I have a question for you. How come God did do that? If I'm going to ask you the same questions about you, how come you did this and how come you did that, you're not going to be able to answer what you did or you didn't do. you won't even be able to start understanding what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. And all those questions come from one place and one place only. It's not that people want to know. They simply don't want to know. Ein am haaretz chasid. You can call yourself a pious person if you're an ignorant person. You have to come and learn every single day. There's no excuse, Rabotai. No excuse. There's no busy, there's no wife, there's nothing. You should explain to your wife, Ezer kenegdo, sometimes she helps you, and sometimes kenegdo. מה זה kenegdo? I didn't understand that. לא יכול להיות, הקדוש ברוך הוא give us wife to חס ושלום, get us off the derech. No. So, if you work in trees and plantations or something like this, you see something, the tree goes leaning down. So you have to put something kenegdo to be tomech bo. Sometimes she ozeret lo, she helps him stand straight. And sometimes she's kenegdo, she helps him not to fall. Tell your wife that. Ask this about your wives. Now listen, I'm not only going for an hour to learn. I'm going for 2 hours. You have to learn. Shabbat, eat less, learn more. How much can you eat? Rabotai, it's very important. It's very important. Vacation. You have vacation from work. אין לך בן חורים, מי שעוסק בתורה, come and learn. At lunchtime, come, get yourself a bottle of champagne, buy yourself every single day a bottle of champagne or a bottle of wine, right? Eat lunch with your wife in the afternoon, you have a vacation. At night, when you come from yeshiva, sit down, eat whatever you want to eat, drink a bottle of wine with your wife, that's it. Don't forget to carry your baby after me, right? Akol tov v'yafeh, he's going to be happy. You're going to learn, you're going to have time with your wife, akol beseder. But where are you going? What, you're going to go to Florida? What are you going to see there? Barracudas? What are you going to see there? Oh, Rabbi, don't worry, I'm learning. How are you going to be learning? This is learning? It's not learning. Rabotai, all begins and ends with Torah. You can be Baal Emunah if you are an Am Haaretz. You have to learn. Ki em chayecha ve'orech yamecha. This is your life, and that's when I give you length in your life. You can't let go of it. Make less money, learn more. It doesn't make a difference if you have emunah. If you worry about money and you worry about that, you know that you don't have emunah. If your rabbi comes to you and says to you, you have to give more money, tell him, Rabbi, I'll give more money, but how about you telling me to learn more? Forget about the money, learn. Money will come from Hashem. Kadosh Baruch Hu yiftach lecha et tzaro atov. The rabbi should tell you, you measure who's your rabbi. Not about how much money you give to the shul, how much you're coming to learn. To be mikabetz and mesader chavurot, but chevruta, the rabbi should arrange chevrutas of learning, groups, encourage of learning. Not, no, giving me a check, you're giving me a check, you're giving me a check. What is it, like IRS? You have rabbis like this, move to another shul, open your own shul, sit down and learn. Rabotai, learning. Shabbat shalom.